Today I have a bit of an unusual video subject here. This is a Talk With Me Barbie doll. This is from 1997, and this is a Barbie doll that can say catchphrases that is programmable through your computer. So the Barbie doll interfaces with this and plugs into a serial port, and then you can use the software included with this to reprogram the phrases that are on the doll. Now, flipping this over, it kind of goes over what all it can do, and well, yeah, there are a couple of things here that are unusual and interesting, but the main reason that I want to actually try and get this going today is that no one has demonstrated this thing working on the internet to the best of my knowledge. It has not been made to work because it requires Windows 95, a functional serial port, a CD drive. So yeah, today I'm going to set this thing up with a period correct system, and we're going to try and make it work. Now, before we get into this too much, there are a couple of things that I want to go over. So let's start with the front of the box. That is very uncanny looking to me because it seems like the software should be coming on a laser disc with how large the front image is. Now, the way this works is that in the middle of Barbie's necklace, there is an IR receiver. The computer itself has a transmitter. Now, there were actually standards in this era for IRDA, for sending and receiving serial data over infrared. And there were toys like the LEGO Mindstorms kits that actually utilize this. But I have a suspicion that the Barbie doll is write only and not IRDA compatible because there really isn't any reason for it to be. Now, in order to write data to the Barbie doll, you have to use the software that it comes with. Based on the descriptions on the box, it seems like the programming of the Barbie doll is actually fairly limited. You can set a name, favorite color, birth date, and some topics to discuss, but you cannot set your own phrases from scratch. Now, this is one of the things that I would like to confirm and why I'm going to be testing this today, because it's entirely possible this could have done arbitrary speech generation even on the computer side, just to send samples to the doll. But based on this note that there were only 14,000 names, and if you wanted one that wasn't available, you would have to contact Mattel and have them create one for you, I have a feeling it's not possible to program your own text into the doll. Now, there are some things on the box that give me pause for concern, like the example of the two girls playing with the doll in the public park where it announces one of their names, age, and birth date, which just makes me think stranger danger a little bit, but it also shows that you can program it with no names, so there were at least options available. Now, the final thing is that the doll's mouth will apparently move while it speaks, and I'm kind of curious to see this in action. Since I believe it can only speak preset phrases, they should have been able to set the syllable points where the jaw should actually move, so it could look pretty good. Or it may just move up and down randomly as there's sound being played. It's hard to say without getting it out and just seeing what happens. Now, one last thing I want to mention before we get this opened is the price, because this was $90 in 1997. Now, I haven't looked up how much the average Barbie doll at the time would have cost, but I'm going to wager it wasn't anything close to that. All right, that's enough background. Let's get this open for the first time. As far as I'm aware, this one has never been used, so this should be a perfect example of what it was like when new. We have the CD glued in place. Thanks for that. There's also something tucked in down there. Oh, there's a bunch in the back we need to get out, actually. Okay, so here we have, wow, that is so much bigger than I thought it was going to be. That's the base that the doll sits on. The user guide, the batteries, which have most definitely gone bad in the packaging. So we'll just leave those right there for now. Also, a small accessories bag, which isn't actually listed as being included on the side of the box. I wonder if this is just like standard fare. Every doll comes with those and they don't even think about it anymore. All right, there's a note about the doll having a 5-minute power off timer, which I'm actually just finding more confusing than anything because I would have thought it just turned off every time after it finished speaking a phrase. So now I'm a little curious what else it's going to be doing. So we'll continue getting deeper into this so we can find out. Finally removed. Okay. It's been a while since I've had to undo that many twist ties. This last one here is where the real magic happens. So this is the computer interface. Behind that, there will be an infrared transmitter. And again, the little bulb right there is the receiver. Now, this uses a 9-pin serial port, and I believe this will already be set up to just plug straight into the computer. Speaking of actual computers, there is an Intel Inside logo on Barbie's fake computer here, which is kind of hilarious. And it doesn't even really advertise this anywhere on the packaging that there is some kind of Intel partnership here. But just having that there required them to put a warning on the box that it doesn't actually contain an Intel processor. Now, to get this ready to use, all we really have to do is just snap the computer there and the chair, and that's it. The doll is not posable in any way. The only real articulation is the hips and the shoulders. So it just kind of slides in like that, and you can see there is a slope to the necklace, so you have to position it facing the monitor like that in order for it to work. But that should be a functional setup right there. That holds it all together actually kind of a lot better than I would have guessed. Now, though, I'm going to have to go through the undignified steps of adding the batteries to the doll, so I'm going to skip past that here in a moment. But I will mention this part. This actually talks about obtaining the custom name, but perhaps a more interesting part of this is that you could download the files from their website, which I believe was not properly archived, and there are no copies of it, unfortunately, which is actually a big unfortunate thing because this describes how you can install custom names, and with some samples of how this works, it might actually be possible to reverse engineer that and put your own custom names in now. But that is going to have to wait for another day when there are some samples to look at. For now, though, let me get the batteries installed. Okay, the batteries are installed now, and this is the button on the back to activate the speech, and I figured I'd leave the jacket off to show this part for now, and it does work.
Hi, let's go to the computer and play.
Now, it takes one AAA in each thigh and then the 4 LR44s in her back. My guess is that the speech system, which the speaker is there, and the mouth movement are completely independent, and that the batteries are actually for the mouth, or the AAAs, I should say, are actually for the mouth, and that the LR44s are just for the speaker. Now, I want to get a closer shot of the mouth because it's actually syllable based, at least with the initial sample sound here. So that's really impressive.
Hi, let's go to the computer and play.
The movement is very, very minute,
Hi, let's go to the computer and play.
but it's absolutely timed to the syllables that the doll is speaking. It's really impressive. All right, all that's left is to get the interface computer plugged into an actual computer, and then we can install the software and try it out. Now, I would like to point out that I would say Barbie was amongst the better software titles for children. As you can see here, there were other games available featuring Barbie around this time, and there were a number of kids' toy-based software games around this time that were actually pretty good. So I'm not necessarily expecting this to be terrible without having tried it first, but no guarantees. So we'll see how it goes. Now, like I mentioned, I'm going to be using a period correct computer. The computer I'll be using this is a Micron Millennia from 1998 running Windows 98 SE on it. and this system has the hardware serial port needed to program the Barbie. So we should be able to make this work. All right, everything's ready. Let's get this set up. Ah, good to know. It has detected that the computer is connected to COM 1, and we are one restart away. And with that, I believe we're going to be ready to try this out.
Press the button on Barbie doll's back until she says, "I'm ready to sit at my computer." Put her at her desk. Click the Test Barbie button. If Barbie's ready, she'll say, "Let's get started."
Pressing the rear button. Okay, moment of truth. Will Test Barbie make the Barbie say something different? Oh, well, that's not good. So if you press the button, this is what the doll says.
Hi, let's go to the computer and play.
But if you hold the button for a little while,
I'm ready to sit at my computer.
but the problem is how the software describes that.
Press the button on Barbie doll's back until she says, "I'm ready to sit at my computer." Put her at her desk.
Press until is a very awkward way of phrasing hold, but okay, we know how to do it now at least. So I think maybe now the test Barbie function will work.
Let's get started.
Perfect. That's what we're looking for. I'll say that the doll is very quiet, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Matter of fact, Adam Savage on Tested just did a video all about hacking up children's toys to try and quiet them down a little bit. So I could see having this thing be this sound level being preferential.
Use the screen to enter information about you, your sisters, and your brothers. For more information, click Help.
That's way more personal information than I would have guessed. Okay. Name. Okay, we can search out of curiosity. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So, just for giggles. Okay, I'm impressed. All right. Wow. You know, that is 14,000 completely gender equal names. They're just all in there. I am impressed. That's cool. Wow, I was not expecting that. Okay, well, we'll put my name in there, which, I mean, that one's a split the difference name, so it kind of doesn't really matter, but...
Shelby.
Okay, that's weird. All right, I think we're good there. Barbie has enough information to steal our identity now.
Whose name will Barbie say?
All right, we'll just go with my name for now.
What do you want to talk about?
And here is why I didn't want to just go straight to the custom ones, because it...
Dating.
Okay, it's apparently just going to
Playing house.
run through them all. It has this whole fun GUI menu. I am a little curious what the difference is between adventure and magical make-believe. Adventure apparently entails going to Moscow. Let's just see.
What kind of adventure?
Hold on. It's apparently going to have the doll talk while the software runs.
What do you want to talk about?
That's my favorite.
What kind of adventure?
It says different things
Vacation.
each time.
What do you want to talk about?
That's what I would have picked.
So, okay, so it looks like adventure is more real. I rarely hear of adventures being based in reality, but okay. All right. Now, we're going to pick adventure, but I just kind of went into the menus and they are much more detailed than I would have guessed. So we're going to count how many questions it asks us as we get through this, okay? So let's just go with adventure.
What kind of adventure?
So what are we doing? Adventure. First question, what kind of adventure? That's our second question.
What would you like to do outdoors?
Horseback riding.
Where would you like to ride?
Let's go with the mountains.
What color is your horse?
Chestnut.
How will you take care of your horse?
Brushing.
Who are you going with?
Ken.
Pick 3 things to pack in your saddlebag.
Jeez.
When you're finished, click the done arrow.
Okay, 8 different questions. Okay. None of these are going to help me brush a horse. Barbie's skin looks pretty pale. We're going to take the sunblock, probably the eyeglasses, and, you know what, the hat, too. That all seems beneficial.
Click on anything you want to change. Or, if you like your choices, click OK.
All right. So, okay, it's currently downloading stuff, and we have a mini game. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is cool. Okay. This, I think, violated some patents. So it's keeping score, okay? We're popping balloons. If I remember correctly, Namco owns a patent on mini games during loading screens.
Barbie anywhere.
Really dumb that was ever patented, and scary when you consider things like the Nintendo patents on Tears of the Kingdom. So, yeah, just weird. But this is programmed now, and the only thing we can realistically do at this point is just have it say random phrases when we press the button. So let's see what we get out of it based on everything that we picked. Now, there were 8 levels of questions there, all right? And we packed 3 different items. So I'm kind of curious how this is going to go. There's a lot of permutations. All right, I'm going to push the button to cycle through. I don't even know how many phrases it's going to have, actually. As many as it seems like before they start to loop around. But also, a reminder, check the face for the speech movements, because I suspect it's going to be syllable-based, which is just going to be really cool.
Shelby, you're such a good rider.
Yep, that... Oh my gosh, that is creepy.
How far should we ride? I love to see the flowers that grow by a mountain trail. Shelby, shall we give our horse a rest? Did you bring sunglasses? I like chestnut horses best. My horse loves it when I brush his mane. Shelby, do you like riding English or Western style? I really like riding with Ken. Let's decorate our saddle. Shelby, your horse is very gentle. I love horseback riding. It's fun to ride on a mountain trail. I'm glad we brought the sunscreen. I love my horse's beautiful long mane. Ken, will you ride with us again tomorrow? Shelby, you're such a good rider.
All right, that's the first loop.
How far should we ride?
And there we go. That seems to have been every one of them. I did not hear something about the hat, although there was one line I couldn't quite make out, so it's possible it was that. So yeah, there are limitations, I think. It thankfully didn't bring up the 10 siblings we told it we have, or birthday, but I suspect we could get it to leak that information if we said that we were doing a birthday party. Okay, now that we've seen kind of what it will do, I'm curious to go through to the custom sounds area and
What do you want to talk about?
and see what loading that is like. So this seems like it is completely not programmed at all from here. So this is just going to raw set phrases into this. So if I choose your topic: birthdays, holidays, friendship, careers. None of these seem like they include the horseback riding. And I think I've hit the limit. So that is 16 phrases. No idea if it's also based on the duration of them, though. Okay, I'm going to tell it to just download all of those and see what it's like. Okay, so I think that will have done it. So let's see.
Shelby, shall we give our horse a rest?
Okay, that did not work at all. I wonder if I have to hold the button every time I want to be able to program it.
Use this screen to choose
Oh, interesting. So it didn't error when the doll was not receptive. And it thinks now that they're all loaded on there. So it won't send it, but it's incorrect. Huh. Okay, this time it seems like it's working.
Do you want to get a balloon? How many candles are on the birthday cake?
That's working. So I think without going down through every single one of these menus, it's not going to be possible to really get an idea of what this software is. But it doesn't seem like it's much deeper than that. So this is just for programming the doll to have specific phrases related to different types of conversations, and with a limited capability, very limited, to set very distinct phrases from that custom menu. There is one more thing I would like to take a look at before we wrap this up. Let me go ahead and close this. And that is that custom installation method that it talked about here for, yes, install custom name. Now, it's looking for a BCN file. Interesting. Barbie custom name. Makes sense. I'm curious what kind of correction it has. So let's just name this Voodoo 1 driver file to that. Not a valid custom name file. Okay, so that has some kind of error checking. It probably has a text string that defines what the name is. Well, it would have to show up as a file. But yeah, this is going to be a much more complicated file format than I was initially expecting, because I was kind of wondering if it would just be, say, a 4-bit PCM wave that's being sent to the doll, but and that might actually be the data that's sent. But this file is going to have to contain a text name, probably a language, the audio data, but also the syllable data. So it's going to be fairly complicated. Well, that is the computer programmable Talk With Me Barbie from 1997. Still working. I'm really impressed by the mouth movement. With the wide array of different things that you can program it to say, I feel like that is an underrated feature. It could have been more prominently displayed than just in the little insert in the box. Having it be programmed and custom tailored is cool as well. I feel like it's a little too invasive into your personal details, but if with some parental advisement, it could be set up a little bit better. And on that, I think that the computer programming aspect here isn't even the best part of this. Imagine a scenario, okay? Earlier December, okay? You buy this for your kid, and you open it, take it out of the box, set everything up, because good grief, that was a nightmare. You definitely need to do that before you hand it over to them, no matter what you're going to do with it. But you set it all up, and you pre-program the doll with their name, all right? Maybe you don't even put it back into the Talk With Me Barbie box. You put it into a different Barbie box with some other stuff. And then you give it to them, and the doll already knows their name and talks with them about things. That, I think, would have been one of the coolest experiences you could have had in this kind of toy ecosystem. To have the doll be custom tailored to you as a kid, I imagine that would have been mind-blowing. So I really hope some parents did that with these, because that just sounds like a lot of fun. Then, of course, after you give it to them on presumably Christmas or whatever, you would have then showed them how they can program it themselves afterwards. But that one moment where the Barbie was able to speak their name would have been absolutely magical. Well, this was an unusual look at a unusual product for my channel, but I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this little weird offshoot of a project. I was given this, and once I found out that no one had actually shown it working, I figured somebody needs to, so why not me? I have all the hardware. I knew I could do it, so why not? If you guys did enjoy this, well, I can't really say subscribe because it's not like I'm going to be doing other Barbie content in the future, but if you liked the old computer part of this, you may want to subscribe to see more of that stuff. And if you want to help support me and my endeavors to look at weird old things that no one knows about, you can find me on Patreon. But for now, that's it, and I'll see you next time. Barbie, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Goodbye.